Brad, thank you so much for reaching out to us and messaging and wanting to share your story. So, Brad and I have never spoken. We don't know each other. But Brad, you reached out to me because you had an important health journey that you want to talk about. And that's what I'm interested in. So, tell us a bit about yourself. Tell me really how it started. Where were you that you began this whole trip that you're on now?
Okay, so it's obviously a long road, like many people. Over 10 years ago, I felt like something was off. And then, of course, knowing that, knowing the disappointment that I got from other professionals, I kept looking for something else. Um, After several tests, several different professionals, and just being completely naively optimistic and faithful that my answer was out there and that I was going to figure this out. Did I discover Dr. Morse? Did I discover, before him, herbalism? I tried the veganism, of course. Eventually, it made sense supporting nature and using nature. And then, of course, a lot of people that I respected said things about fruit. And then what really what really got me with Morse, I think, was the fact that he was actually connecting soul and soil. And it was really expressing all of our identity as biology and then, of course, spirituality. And this is something that unfortunately too many people psychologically get stuck about. This is the answer. It's this one dimensional, three-dimensional thing when we are, in fact, beyond that. We are, in fact, bigger than that. So that's what really got me to go, okay, I like this guy. He's really considering everything. And
So,
he was
so,
very sweet, genuine.
and if I completely agree. So if I may ask, what health problems were you having?
Oh, sorry. Okay, so my health problems was have sleep issues, focus, brain fog. I had hyperglycemia. So I had adrenal fatigue. I had hair loss. I had terrible sleep, terrible focus, terrible libido, um, irritability to noises. I couldn't focus. Um, just fatigue, brain fog, all the negative, really negative.
Wow.
My
And
teeth were decaying, my hair was falling out.
how long was that? Did that last for?
Uh,
Or rather, how long had you had it?
it was the sleep and the bad focus was really bad for a year, and I found out actually that I had parasites, and through more journeys, and then I tried to use a regular diet with meat, a more another naturopath put me on a diet that was a mixture of meat, vegetables, and no fruit actually. And it was like a minor, a small commitment. It seems like they were trying to tailor a commitment around what most people are willing to do. And I did that, and it helped a little bit. And then all my symptoms came back. So then I of course found Morse, and yeah, I had terrible everything. I felt like I was, as I heard one of these naturopaths say, I was the healthiest sick person I know. Um,
Wow. And how did you come across Dr. Morse? Was it online? Was it a friend?
yeah, the internet. Yeah.
Was it?
I think YouTube. I saw him here and there on Instagram, but I'm in luckily circles that are more holistic people, yogis, herbalists, ceremony holders, psychedelic medicine ceremony holders. So of course, among these circles, um, he got shared a bit.
Wow. Okay. And so the first thing that attracted you was, I guess, his character, as you said, a combination of soil, bringing it all together, right? Spirituality, and did that resonate with you straight away? Were you a spirit? Would you have called yourself a spiritual person before? Were you? looking? I mean,
Yeah,
are you a spiritual person now more because of it, or how did that all?
yeah, I was a spiritual person before. I think, one of the reasons why I have such naive optimism and why I knew that I knew I was gonna figure it out, um, is because disparity wasn't an option for me. I didn't want to accept that I was decaying, that I was defeated, because I want to live, and I think that has a big part of it is choosing myself and choosing truth and choosing that there's enough good people out here. I'm going to find them.
And
And
s- sorry to interrupt you. You said you wanted you to live. Did you really feel that bad? Like it was a your
yeah,
approach? You really?
yeah. I mean, again, the parasites for me was a big thing. That was a really big contributor to my issue, and they were literally eating me alive. I mean, after all said and done, I purged over 50 inches of parasites,
Wow.
and everyone told me I was crazy. Infectious disease doctors said I was delusional, and I was like, let me show you the delusion in my toilet, and he doesn't even want to hear me. Doesn't want to hear it. I've lost clients. I've lost friends. At this point, you can't. I think what most people get to the point where you can't even tell anybody about how poorly you feel because nobody is going to understand it. And not only that, they're going to tell you, oh, you need to take cinnamon and it'll blah, 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 blah. Or you just need to, oh, it's in your head. Or, oh, don't listen to anybody. Listen to yourself, listen and speak to the love and the light that's around you, and trust and hold yourself and try to feel safe. And I'm speaking to those people that are dealing with health issues. You don't need to tell anybody anything, because they're not even going to listen. You just got to listen to yourself and know what's right and trust that you're going to get the support you need, and the friends with the tests that'll verify it for you will come up, will show up. I got some different tests to verify this, but anyway, what really helped me with what I really liked about using Morse's approach throughout all of this is I was able to re-heal my body very, very rapidly from all the toxins that occur from parasite infection. And of course, they were destroying my kidneys. Um, and so to get to have something to get mucus out has been really great. I I'm very grateful that I've had this because my kidneys were really bad shape, and I think they have been my whole life.
So what were you eating? Just for the average person that's come across this, hasn't heard of Dr. Morse, hasn't heard about any of it. What were you eating and what were you doing beforehand? And what did you change?
So I, unfortunately, but fortunately, about 10 years ago, started feeling really off. And I also was in a modeling industry, so I was really trying to eat clean, and I couldn't eat processed food because I would feel uncomfortable. So I had to eat very clean, and so that allowed me to keep me along a disciplined route. But then, of course, 10 years later, after I've gotten everything clean, tried vegan, tried carnivore, I've grass fed everything, organic everything, spring water, cotton, organic fabrics, air filter in every room, all this mold doctors that I worked with, and all this crap that brought me to I just need to get the toxins out. I thought it was mold. I thought it was metal. I thought this, that, and the other, and I just need to get the toxins out. And so I was eating a lot of meat, mostly eggs and meat and rice, and realized I just wasn't feeling good. So I had to do something different, and I was willing to do it. And so, um, again, Robert Morse's sincerity and simplicity um, made sense to me. So thank God for Dr. Morse TV. I was able to just really study, and all of it made sense. And I was able to help myself heal my adrenals, and reverse the hyperglycemia.
Wow. And what did you do? Did you go straight on fruit? Was it immediate or was it a gradual thing?
No, so I tried my first spurt, because of course all these herbalists and fruitarians and they're like, oh, go on 40 days of fruit, and it just is absurd to me. So because I'm a massage therapist and I need a lot of energy. So I did 2 weeks was my first spout. I think it was 2 weeks. Maybe it was 1 week. Um Maybe it was 1 week I did, and then I did 2 weeks months later. And then for about 4 months now, I've done mostly fruit.
And were the differences you felt, were they quick? Days, hours, weeks?
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I've done all these diets, and the vegan, the carnivore, the and now the fruit, and the fruit has been my favorite diet. I never want to come off of it. And even in 4 months into, I mean, it's getting to winter now, so grapes are becoming more expensive, but I still love it. I still look at grapes and I'm so happy. Um, so I'd say, yeah, I never wanted to come off of it. I just felt like, I was just trying to be conservative, and that's the reason why I have. Um, yeah, I'm even getting my son to do it now, my girlfriend too. And
Wow.
we have watermelon dinners and he loves it.
How old is he?
He's 9.
Wow, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, a
And
year ago I thought fruit was bad, and I was telling his mom and you can never give him fruit because we all believe this bullshit,
yeah,
this unfortunate lie that fruit is bad when nothing in nature really is bad. Or just of course if we do too much of it.
yep. I couldn't agree more. So you started your new regime, and did you have any? I know that for people that do this thing, they have something called a healing crisis, where after a period of time, where sometimes it's a matter of days, sometimes it's a bit longer, you go through some negative consequences of doing it. And some people mistaken that as a problem, as the sometimes people blame the fruit, but what it's doing is revealing your weakness, isn't it? And these things are short lived anyway. Did you have any of these things, like a healing crisis, they call it?
Yes, consistently they keep coming, and um, it is really overwhelming. And unfortunately, I don't think Dr. Morse does a good job of talking about this, or any of these natural herbalists do a good job of talking about this, or really supporting you through it. Um, but the best thing that I learned is if it's temporary, no matter what it is you're feeling. I've had scary ones, heart palpitations, things, you know, where I can't breathe, and as well. But it was way worse in the beginning. It's basically whatever the condition, whatever my symptoms were in the beginning before I did it, they either get extreme or they become minor or they come back, and I think I'm not healing. Um, yeah, so it definitely is. It's like the ocean; it sways back and forth. So as long as the thing is swaying, everything's okay, and as long as you're just swaying with it, and then sometimes you got to sway off of all the fruit. Sometimes you got to stay on the fruit because that's what's going to help process that stuff faster.
It's a very individual thing, isn't it? And I know Dr. Moore sometimes, well, has always called it, since I've known him, the detoxification being an art, because you have to know, and it's different for every individual, right? Because we've all got our own genes and we've all got our own lifestyle and the way of doing things. So yeah, you're right. You have to know when to, as he says, put the brakes on, see where you're at. And some people just go head first into it and deal with the consequences. So how long ago have you been doing this? How long ago did that start?
Um, I've been really, really active with it. 4 months ago. I don't even know what month that was. So yeah, I think that's July.
Wow.
And I've been eating mostly grapes and sprouts and an occasional, I think a feeding period is good to give your body a break and just to kind of give the biology that your body's familiar with, chemistry. So I've been doing more. That's one of the things that I wish I would have done in the beginning is, you got to strengthen the body before you really detox. And that's another big tip that I wish I knew in the beginning. And so you want to make sure that you're strong before you go into a heavy detox. So definitely using the strengthening herbs, strengthening your kidneys, strengthening everything down the line is very important. But definitely coming off, I think, is a good thing. Whether it's just sprouts for protein, supposedly is what Morse says, or vegetables, cooked vegetables. I think my biology loves meat, so I go back to the meat a bit. And I just went back last night and had a really intense, really like all the meat that I love on one plate. And my body wasn't really into it. It's really interesting because I really loved meat. I love meat. And now that I'm doing the fruit, it's really interesting. I'm changing my relationship with it. And I know that, okay, I'm supposed to be eating fruit right now. Like that's what my body wasn't really into the meat last night. So,
That's interesting. Is that the first time that's happened?
uh, I'd say since I went more consistent with it for these 4 months, have I experienced that. Before it was like I would bite into the burger and I would just be like in heaven. But ever since I've kind of really went active, I've I haven't hasn't been good. Hasn't been as satisfying.
How do you feel about that?
It's really interesting. It's just very interesting. I always say that I don't really know what I need. My body does. Because then I allow myself to steer and listen to what my body does. Because that's what it comes down to. That's what this challenge is for us to get out of our minds and come into our bodies and feel what it is we need. Because Western medicine, your friend, the guy, the trainer, the buff guy on YouTube is not really going to know what we need, what diet we need. So, and our body can change, our metabolism changes. What we use for energy can change from just adaptation. So, knowing, just trusting, listening to your body. What do I need today? That's kind of what I've been doing. What do I need today? You know, I buy 15 pounds of grapes at a time. And then we eat them, make sure we don't waste as much as we can. And then I go see when I need more. What do I need next? And I have sprouts in there at all times, just in case I know I need some more protein. That's how I've been doing it.
Wow. And it's interesting what you said earlier about parasites, because that's an important factor, right? Because if you're full of parasites or fungus, then you will crave what the parasites crave. And then some people who aren't aware of that will say, I need starch, but that's because they're full of fungus, right? And then when you I know it happened to me. Then when you reduce that, those cravings go. You don't have those cravings. I wonder if that's what's happening with you with meat.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think everything, what I've learned from this process is everything is always yes and, even
Right.
everything in nature is always just yes and. Our mind wants to go, okay, it's this, but that's just our mind. Our mind
Yeah.
loves expectation. So I mean, it's hard for me to believe as an Irish person in Irish origin in my genetics that we had fruit, or we were even 100 or 200 or 3 years close to having fruit. In Ireland, it's all meat, potatoes. So I just think, I don't know if it's as much as we crave the acid food as much as we need it for immediate nutrients, because we are filled with so many toxins that our body can't detox. So that's what this has been my theory with all of this. Because again, I was heavy carnivore for 3, 4 years, only meat and potatoes and rice and eggs and liver and testicle and bone broth. And having pulled myself off of that, I'm noticing my body is figuring out how else to create energy, and it is way more energy. I will say the fruit is way more energetic for me, and I don't get sick of it. Where of course, I'm just kind of. I think every diet needs to be seasonal. This is again my theory. I think we need to eat seasonally because in the winter, fruit's not available, right? So I think our hormones need something different. So this is again what my perspective is on it, and I think we need to eat seasonally and not like, oh, my mind thinks that I need this. Because anytime I crave something, I have to ask myself, okay, why do I want this? Coming from an addict background, why do I want this? Is this my mind? Is this thing? So it's again, like we said earlier, it just depends on everybody. Depends on what everyone needs, and day to day, whatever we need every day, day to day. So I think it's just checking in every meal, every day. What do I need? Because again, it brings us into our body. Our body knows everything. So, and I invite you, Marco, I'm sure you do this already, but anybody listening is to, I need this. If you say I need this, it's usually a neurological, psychological response that's habitually trained. And usually it's a chemical or something that's starting to leave your body, and your brain is like, oh my God, that's leaving. Our brain doesn't like to do things differently. So once something is starting to go away, we need it. Our brain needs it. It wants to latch onto it. So again, come into your body and ask yourself, sit quietly, breathe, feel safe, feel love. What do I need today? Is this the right doctor for me? Is this the right information for me? Is this the right test for me? Because we'll go bankrupt if we just listen to all the people saying, oh, you need this pill, you need to detox this thing, you need to just detox everything. And know that the doctors legally can't tell you the truth.
I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah. I
Do
was in
they?
a dentist. They can't
Sorry.
tell you the truth. Go ahead, please.
No, it's my fault. I shouldn't have interrupted. So, are
Please.
you saying they know, but they can't tell you? Because from my understanding was that half of them don't even know, or more than half.
Yeah, well, yeah, they don't know because again, they're mind driven, and that's where we're all
Right.
having all of our karma right now in this world. Is we all need to stop mind driving and come into our body and heart, the
Right.
internal love that we all are. But yeah, I was working with a biodentist about some root canals, and root canals are not good for the body. Leaving a dead tissue in the live body is not good. It fosters bacteria. So guess what that bacteria does? It migrates throughout the brain, throughout the body, throughout the skull. So I was talking to a biodentist, and I came in and started word vomiting all this information about the root canals. And I think it's this. I think I need to get them out. I need to get these teeth out. I've had them for 10 years. And he was like, oh, wow, you're in touch. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you're in touch. You're sensitive. And I'm like, yeah. And so, I was sitting in his table. I was sitting in his chair, through the process of seeing him over and over and over again. And I was next door was this guy talking about he was seeing an oncologist, and he was starting to say, oh, something about the root canal, da, 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 da. And the dentist comes over and sits down with me, and I said, dentist, I was like, doctor, he's getting like, should I tell him or are you going to tell him? He was like, legally I can't tell him, but do you notice that he's getting closer? And I'm just thinking to myself, like, wow, see, you can't even rely on these professionals that you hire, unfortunately. Well, you can only rely on them in the specific niche that they are doing.
Wow, that's an amazing story.
Yeah. And everyone's going to tell you're crazy. Even the biodentist that knows the root canal teeth are toxic is not going to understand how at what level, because God bless his soul, he made it, And again, it's a lot of times it's not even what I'm realizing. It's not even these doctors' fault a lot of time, because they're trained and they are told that this is all that they need to know, and they spend all this time and money into getting this degree, and then they spend their whole working life 40 hours plus a week doing this. So then when they only have these 2 days to themselves, they're not going to continue studying this. They're not going to go home and study, okay, is all the millions of dollars and all the time all the sacrifice that I put into my life to learn this modality, is it wrong? The mind is not going to let them do that. they want to live through pride, and that's what they do through work. So having them go beyond all that work of wearing themselves thin. He said, my dentist said, he's like, dude, he's like, well, he doesn't say dude, but he said, Brad, I'm here every day, man. This is where I'm at. And he's like, you have different information. You have you do all the studying out there, so you have to be ambitious. But more importantly, you have to believe that God or angels or spirit or whatever it is that you believe in, love, life is within you and expanding within you, and to keep trusting that. And I promise the right person will show up. And Morse is the right person. But of course, we all have a very complex condition.
And so now here we are 4 months later. And I know from experience that whatever you're feeling now, in another 4 months' time, you're going to be somewhere completely different, right? But from where you are right now, how are things like your sleep, your concentration, your brain fog? How does that compare?
Um, that's so I don't, that's a tricky thing. It hasn't, some days it's definitely getting better, but it's still generally challenging. I'm waking up still tired every day, and most days. Um,
In detox terms, though, 4 months, you're just getting started, right?
yeah, I hope so, because it's very overwhelming,
Yeah.
And yeah, is that what it is? That's what I was gonna ask you. Is you know, yeah, because every time that I've had an experience where I'm like something is wrong, and I've been in the ER twice, and I ended up leaving before, because you have to wait 15 hours at ER to get in LA, and so I ended up leaving because I can't afford it, and my heart stopped racing so hard, and it always passes. And my girlfriend will just come and hold me through it, and I'm just breathing. You have to breathe through it because it can be intense. But as a massage therapist and energy worker, I'm realizing that not anything that is processing and leaving is intense and uncomfortable. Having an alternate idea is uncomfortable for our mind. When we are changing what our body's used to or detoxing, it's very uncomfortable. So that's why I keep just reminding myself is, I am panicked. There are moments of panic. There are moments of something is wrong, but I'm just trusting the process, taking my own advice, just trusting that my body knows how to heal itself, and I do the things to help it, but getting under the sunlight, positive thinking, even just feeling and thinking love boosts the immunity 50%. Joe Dispenza's work. So just using the laws of physics, like Morse talks about so much, and everything's going to turn out. So yeah, that's what. So yeah, it's a daily. It's kind of different every day. I would say it's different every week. Is what I would say.
Wow. What would you say to someone who's just starting out? They're just starting out. They just come across Dr. Morse. They're thinking about all fruit. They've never heard of this concept. It sounds crazy. Fruit's bad. Fruit sugar. Sugar's bad. All this stuff. What would you say to them?
We are over consuming in the society. If we think about an idea or fantasize about what life may have been like in the early stages of our species, we didn't have food like that. Just like nature, of everything swaying, our emotions swaying, will feel good for a few days or a week, and then we start feeling bad. And this is just regular life without food diet, right? Everything sways. Everything is momentum. Life is momentum based. So I think that swaying is feast and famine. We had we had feed days and we had famine. So we need to give the body an opportunity to not eat, to not digest. Digestion takes up so much energy for the body. And through my own studying, our body cannot digest food and heal at the same time. That's a generalization, and I don't think that's entirely true, but for the most part, we can't really fully heal biology if we're digesting food, because all the blood goes to digestion. So that's why fruit is good. And fruit is it's not hard on the digestion. So you get that fructose, which is quick energy, which is electrical energy. And you don't need to break down the fat, the proteins, the carbs for the energy. You're getting instant energy. So you're going to give your body a break, and just suggest you to try it for 3 days. Try it for one day. But really enjoy it, because if you're speeding through it, if you're rushing it, you're not actually sitting down and eating the meal of fruit. Make it a meal, make it a ceremony, make it an important thing. Reconnect to your food, because our lives take us away from food, take us away from sleep, take us away from our friends, take us away from present time with our children, because we're so mind driven. That's great. That's fine. That's perfect. I am too. I have to remind myself this daily, is to sit down and enjoy the still moments, right? We're busy, 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 busy. We need to balance that. We eat, we eat, 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 eat. We need to balance that with not eating, with stillness. But again, expressing everything that we are, you're going to get more of who you are. And this is what's required of that, is to get uncomfortable and be still, to put all of your fruit in a bowl and just eat that for a meal and enjoy it. Sit down in the sunlight, go to the park, sit down. And so it's going to, you're going to feel better. And not only that, you're going to return back to who you are. And there's going to be emotions that come up, because these toxins are clogging up our organs. And our organs have emotional consciousness. Don't let that intimidate you. Emotions are just energy in motion. They are trying to move. So breathe through it. Allow yourself to find places. Allow yourself to feel safe. Hold yourself and breathe into it, because that is something that you're going to need in all of life. And especially through fruit fast, when you're detoxing decades of toxins out of your body. But you're going to heal if you do it. And it's worth it. Just take it slow. Take it slow. Really commit to it on the days that you're doing it. Try to build momentum. But don't get off of it for very long, because whatever toxins are processing, once you get off of it, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you get off of it, whatever toxins are processing, they're gonna irritate your system. So even I have found success with, even if I was doing all fruit in the morning and then had dinner where I had my regular meal at dinner, I was still noticing that there was still like a lot of good processing, a lot of good healing. So even if you just have days like that, and then have intense all fruit days, because the 40 days on grapes is just not practical. It's absurd, because a lot of people just their bodies aren't set up for that, because of all the toxins. And so take it slow, but have times where you really commit to it, where you're going to feel safe, where you're outside of your period or you're outside of a stressful environment. Do it where you're ready, where you're comfortable at home, when you have slow days at work. Like I saw something through Morse's protocol, get in the habit of saying no when you're going through the process. So, put yourself in the right opportunity. Allow yourself to sway. It doesn't have to be Monday is my fruit day. It doesn't have to be that if you don't want it to be. Just allow yourself to sway and trust your instinct. Trust bring yourself in your body. And what do I need today? This is going to strengthen your intuition, and it's going to bring you to manifest things in your life for your higher good.
You know what I'm hearing from you? Dr. Morse always talks about, he says, healing's easy, spirituality's where it's at. And listening to you and talking with you, you're very heavy on that side. And I think that's encouraging, because the people that have heard me or spoken with me before know that I feel quite passionate about our empowerment as human beings that has been taken away from us. And I think I know we need to get it back. As individuals, we need to get our empowerment back. You take control of your body, you take control of your health, because it's no one else's responsibility, right? It's only yours. And you can't give it to someone else. It's not their responsibility. And that's what I'm hearing from you. And that's what I really like hearing from you. I find it really encouraging. And I want to thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something we all have to do, like you said. We can call it spirituality. I just call it claiming your space. Like, who am I? What is the space that I'm taking up? What is this body? Like, literally just coming in and go, okay, wow, this is my wrist. This is my wrist. We get so caught up in our life that we forget that my wrist is like, has all this blood and cells, and just remembering the magic that is you. It doesn't have to be a God conversation or that you have a soul, because that can be confusing and overwhelming. Just like feel the power of your heart, like the power of your organs. Feel the comfort of your bed. This brings you into the present moment, and the present moment is where the infinite is felt. And again, that's where you are going to attract the specialist, the diet, the support, the friend, the job, specific nutrient you need. Like, avocados are incredible when you're on this diet, because fats are important for the body. So if you're kind of like you don't want to get off the diet, but like you need something that's satisfying, take salt and put it on avocado, and you're gonna love that. And you can have a day of eating all avocados.
And it's a fruit, right?
Yep, absolutely. It's a fruit, and it's got B vitamins. It's got good omega-3s, fiber. It'll fill you up a little better. So yeah, just allow yourself to have fun with it however you can, and just take it one day at a time, like anything. And tune into Dr. Morse's videos. I've been studying them like I'm in the profession now.
Good.
And he'll give you tips there. You don't even, unfortunately, he's not really for hire, but he kind of feels like he is when you're on those videos.
And you've said something really important there. So his videos are on Dr. Morse TV. That's his own platform where he's not censored. It's his own
Dr. Morse.tv.
Dr. Morse.tv. You're absolutely right. And it doesn't matter. A lot of people I see on the various groups on social media, especially new people, that you can't blame them. Where we come from a place of treatment-based thinking, because that's all we've been bombarded with. So some people will come along and say, what's the best food to eat for this disease, or what's the best herb to take for this disease? And more importantly, what I'm getting to is, what's the best? Does he do a video on this disease? And what I always say is, it doesn't matter what video you watch. Just watch any video, and the more videos you watch, the more you will learn. But don't get stuck, and would you agree? Don't own your disease. Don't own it.
Yeah.
Some people
Yeah.
carry it on their back, right? It's part of their identity.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a noun, like a being politically left, or being politically right, or being male, or wearing a red shirt. You're going to take that shirt off if you want. It doesn't represent who you are. It's a condition. Arthritis means inflammation. And what Morse did it for me is he shows the picture of a finger and how dense the lymph is in the finger.
Yeah, that's a good video, isn't it?
Yeah, and we have 3 times the amount of lymph fluid that we do cells, red blood cells. We have 100 trillion red blood cells supposedly, and so 3 times that. That's like, excuse me, no, we have 25% red blood cells and then 75% lymph fluid. So it takes time. So I bet if we flush that lymph fluid, if we clean up that lymph fluid, it might, because we're mostly lymph fluid, something good might happen. So however we are today is not going to be who we are in the future if we do something different. And so that's why it's worth it. You got to choose you. You got to believe in yourself and choose yourself.
You're very
Not more. Not.
You're
Yeah,
very
you know what's best for you.
you're very wise, Brad. You're very wise because you said red shirt, take it off, male, female, left or right. And it's the same with, I know some people get triggered or some people react to the word spirituality. They think it's something to do with religion. Some people are hooked. They possess, I'm an atheist, that's what I am, or I'm religious, that's what I, and none of it really matters, does it? It's all the same thing, right? If you're
Yeah.
leaning too far one way, you're no different to whoever you think you're criticizing.
Right. Which is what one of the things I like about being American is that we obliterate our language. The word literally doesn't even mean literally anymore. It's a figurative
Right.
definition now. And then of course, what is a woman? We won't go there, but we are, the words they don't mean as much as what we put on it. Like I love you means differently to me than it means to you. Like the context underneath what love means to you is going to be up to you. That's why the word love doesn't mean anything, right? What means it is the words and the energy that I put behind it, the relationship I have with it. So again, just tapping back into you and what is it? Okay, this person thinks I need to eat all this meat. Does this make sense to me? What is that for me? Okay, this person thinks that I need to be left or right, or I need to act more boyish or girlish. Okay, yeah, maybe. But what is right for you? Knowing that you're all love, knowing that you're our expansion, knowing that you used to be nothing and now you're this human. You came out of a woman's stomach, came from someplace far away, flew into a woman's stomach, came out, and now you're you. So there's some kind of magic going on. Something's weird is going on. So allow yourself to be weird. And this is my medicine is to trust, be weird and not get so stuck on vanilla, black and white.
Brad, thank you. You're an inspiration, and you've given lots of good tips for newcomers, and I think for detox veterans alike. I thank you for your time, and I'd like to speak with you again in the future as well, if you'd like to do that.
Sure. Yeah. If I could just say one thing I really want to impress upon you while you're going through this diet, which is I don't think talked about, is minerals. Minerals are very, very important. Our body organs run off minerals. So get a very good sea salt and use it in everything. Put it in your water, put it in your coffee, especially. And those minerals are going to keep you a lot more sane. Take magnesium. Supporting your kidneys because the kidneys are the ones that are getting abused, especially in the Western states. So by putting salt, you're gonna help your whole process. It's gonna have magnesium, you're gonna have sodium, you're gonna be more relaxed. So anyway, that's gonna smooth out the process. So please definitely do that. And you're welcome and thanks for having me. And yeah, totally anybody anytime.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you. Take care.
You too, Marco.